Hello folks, Richard Moore, United States Anti-Gang Stalking Association. I'm got a lot to talk about today. Right behind me is, see if I can get this for you. This is in Tupelo, Mississippi, and this Confederate CSA, Confederate States of America memorial statue in front of the, this is referred to as the old courthouse in Lee County, Mississippi. Try to get out of this sun where I can see what I'm doing. And I do have my assistant Asian L with me, tied to my pocket. Hopefully she don't trip me up, so I can get a view here of this old building. But it's across over here. That's the new courthouse, and we'll get it on around and kind of give everybody a picture of I'm absolutely, without question, in the dirty South. I'm not saying that everybody can be thrown in the lot with being complacent with racism and civil and constitutional rights violations. But I am saying that the mass majority of the people, not only in the South, but across this nation, have become complacent with systematic crimes against humanity. This somehow is a joke to many. I recently did a story about Jessica Stacks missing from Union County, Mississippi. She's been missing for 9 months. I posted a follow-up clip of a partial interview with Jessica's mother, Kathy Story. And we, due to those two postings, have seen the dam, if you will, of confusion, obstruction, and information all flooding in at the same time. So that's what I want to address. First, we talk about community policing. Vigilante groups supported by a part of the Department of Homeland Security called Citizen Corps. This is law enforcement on a local level is well aware of this because they run it. And it encourages private citizens, and they teach and train private citizens tactics, not only in surveillance of its own citizens, but tactics that is billed as to discourage a person's proclivity to commit crimes, etc., 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 thereby greenlighting these state actors, private citizens, to systematically violate an individual's civil and constitutional rights under the guise of them being a bad person, a person of interest, a criminal. Whatever storyline that the average citizen is given that participates in this, they take it and run with it. The frontline crash dummies that get paid and rewarded with drugs, illegal drugs. gift cards, and they greenlight criminal behavior, all in the name of community policing. While interviewing Kathy Story about the information surrounding her daughter, Jessica Stacks, is missing, and that the news reports from Dateline and other sources claim that, based on the sheriff Jimmy Edwards, his comments, that they've gotten a lot of tips and leads. A bunch of them led to a dead end. Community policing, one of its main planks in their platform is smear tactics and to discredit the victim. I've seen this firsthand, not with myself, just with myself, but hundreds and thousands of other people. But I'm seeing it as it refers to the Jessica Stacks story. I've had and received information where it's obvious that law enforcement have inserted an element of discredit as it pertains to Jessica Stacks herself. Not only her, but her mother. And I got this on good authority, that the sheriff, Jimmy Edwards, that I currently have in a federal litigation right now, and that is only named in two federal litigations right now, and this is only the beginning. Separately, I have state actors as well as law enforcement, including the sheriff of Lee County, right where I'm standing. We start getting a lot of response, and some of those that work with me in media, social media, on different platforms, get a lot of response and feedback that I personally don't get, but they get it. As it pertains to this story, the first thing that many people, including Dr. Stanwyck, starts getting is not concern or genuine pain that they're feeling for Jessica Stacks and her family. They immediately attack me, my personal character. What about his criminal record? And this is how it works. Well, I wouldn't have a criminal record had it not been for corrupt law enforcement perpetually and continuously propping up situations to make me appear as a career criminal, none of which have merit. But when the deck is stacked against you, it makes no, never mind. We'll talk about my criminal history. That's the reason I do what I do. If I didn't have one, folks, I wouldn't be on here. I've got one, and it's bogus, but this is not about me. We're going to make this today about something that's very important, very serious. Jessica's been missing for 9 months. The story reported, what the public has been told, does not measure up. Doesn't measure up. Doesn't make sense. It is questionable, to say the least. It's more than questionable. It doesn't make sense. I question the boyfriend that was with her in the boat, and the fact that he was a known confidant and confidential informant, also known as a snitch, the boyfriend's dad, and his relationship, and he's deceased now, with Sheriff Jimmy Edwards. I believe that parlays right into the boyfriend. It doesn't measure up. So when crimes are committed, heinous crimes are committed, and it involves one of the foot soldiers of organized community policing, snitching, rat, stalking program, they protect them. When things go wrong, they protect them. And they start a slow, meticulous campaign to disarm any legitimate question or investigation as it concerns the victim. I've also received statements and information that the sheriff himself claims that Kathy Story, the mother of Jessica Stacks, is hindering the investigation. The audacity of Sheriff Edwards smearing the character and name and intentions of a bereaved mother is appalling. So how do they dismiss that? They get in the ear of family members. They have conversations with them, but not the mother. They talk to other people and give information to other people, but not the mother. The mother has questions about this and that. They won't answer them. When asked, is the FBI going to get involved? And she is met, this is within a week of Jessica's disappearance, met with, and I won't repeat, the vulgar profanity used that came out of the mouth of the sheriff referring to that question and about how they won't touch it with a 10-foot pole. I think the jury's still out, Sheriff, whether the Department of Justice will be involved in this or not. Matter of fact, I'm satisfied that at some point in the game they will be involved. And I absolutely know that the sheriff is going to have a lot of questions to be answered for. That's a fact. This is how community policing works, is to dismiss the victims, dismantle any support mechanism by discrediting the very bell, the person that rings the bell, the alarm of something going awry. There's something wrong with the picture. So I've seen this in the last week of things that people coming at me with bogus leads, bogus information. I'm trying to work with my little dog here as it refers to the Stacks story. This is intentional. This is complete misinformation. This is how community policing and stalking works. It works like this: confuse and conquer. Confuse and conquer. So they insert bogus, fake, false stories into various groups of individuals, and then they use that conduit into law enforcement and those that are speaking out. They're trying to ferret out the truth in the matter, and they start feeding and flooding that misinformation in. And so in order to prevent the truth from ever being known, well, I'm going to tell you, I posted some other things about some other individuals that their death, there's many questions. And every time there's a question mark, that means, when I'm putting a question mark there, that law enforcement is covering it up. Why are they covering up? Because they're involved. You see, if a person is using illegal drugs, somehow are accused of using illegal drugs, or whatever the Klan deems that they're doing that they don't like, then therefore they are given the green light to violate their civil and constitutional rights. With all the bells and whistles that the federal government can lay at their feet and assist in systematic torture and violation of civil and constitutional rights, and torture a human being and drive them to the point of self-implosion. Sometimes mistakes are made, and sometimes they don't cover all their bases. The longer this has gone, it's been 9 months, folks. I didn't get it. It's been a week me having any information about this. I had no knowledge of Jessica's story. There's two schools of thought. She's buried somewhere. And second, she perhaps is a victim of trafficking and is somewhere and is not in a position to make a telephone call or reach out for help. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not aware of human trafficking in the United States of America and the problem with human trafficking, then you've had your head and your eyes and ears in absolutely the wrong place. Does human trafficking, how does it affect North Mississippi? Folks, let me tell you, you want to associate this with large cities, metropolitan areas. Don't. Associate it with close-knit communities that have a lot of dirty secrets. They're able to stay on the same page, keep the same narrative, and they're able to destroy and dismantle any credible information that comes as it pertains to that missing person, thereby supplying the human trafficking chain. It's in the rural areas. It's not the metropolitan areas. It's not the streets of Beverly Hills. It's on these back roads in Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee, where these people may not have the right family name, may or may not have been involved with illegal drugs. And keep in mind, the drugs in the drug trade, controlled by law enforcement, state, local, and federal, and using the frontline crash dummies to make sure that it's always relatively available for the victim, thus clearing their conscience as if they had one, and to insinuate that anything bad that happened to that individual because they were on, and I quote, they were on dope. Therefore, we're not going to take this serious, because in their minds, they had it coming. The girl wearing the skirt too short asked to be raped. She should have dressed more modestly. That mentality is still here. A couple of years ago, the sheriff of this county, through just a general audit of communications, came across a text message where he's talking to someone, and he says, and I quote, "These Mexicans are just as bad as the black people." The board of aldermen, the board of supervisors, were split. Many of them felt like that wasn't racist at all. Didn't see a thing in the world wrong with it. He did issue an apology to the local chapter of the NAACP. As far as anything past that, I don't know. Now, we have to rely on local fake media and fake news on that narrative, on what's really going on. You don't accidentally make that kind of a racist statement by accident. You don't do that. That is to construct a sentence and making a disparaging remark about Mexicans. And you can hear the noise campaign in the background. That's Tupelo's finest. They're absolutely the poster child for modern day Klansmen and modern day Nazis. Is the community policing program in Tupelo, Mississippi, and it's all inclusive. They include other races to make it look legitimate and make it look non-racist. So you have the Uncle and Aunt Toms that fall right into that, and they're cool with it. They're cool with it. But what they shouldn't be cool with is there is such a large, and I mean large, majority of African Americans that are victims of organized targeting, gang stalking, that is going unchecked. Somebody like Sheriff Johnson would say, "Oh, those people are always complaining." It's the "you people" syndrome. And this is what we've got going on in Union County, Mississippi. Something smells really bad here, folks. There's people that do know things that have not come forward. Whether you're a member of law enforcement or whether you're a member of the perverted stalking organization, because that's hand in hand. The boyfriend is arm in arm with criminals that are systematically, under the direction of law enforcement, committing crimes against humanity. To bring those people into question, then we have a problem. It's called loose lips sink ships. They're not. That's why nothing's being done. That's why we don't have any answers. That's why we have these dead ends. That's why we have the mother being shut down and demoralized by the sheriff. That's why we have MBN or MBI, the people at Troop F, joining them in the games, folks. Now, I'm telling you, I've already had plenty of interactions with these people. And complaining about crimes committed against me by law enforcement. And the only response was, "Have you considered moving?" Have I considered moving? Would that be the reply? Say, anybody? No. Once you're targeted and you're put on a list. Now, do I know if Jessica Stacks was a target or not? I don't know that. But from everything that I've seen, and from what I know and have read, and what I personally know of this organization in North Mississippi, I can say without any fear of exaggeration, yes. Absolutely yes. Was this accidental? No. Was this pre-planned and orchestrated? Yes. Was law enforcement involved, and did they have knowledge before, during, and after? Yes, yes, and yes. This is why they're trying to discredit and dismiss not only the mother, but myself or anyone else that dare speak the truth. This is why they continue their smear tactics and delay techniques. This is why the murder of Childa and Fred Stevens. That was a murder, and apparently he died from self-inflicted wounds to the stomach over 3 years ago. I've made many talks about this in Chickasaw County. It's been 3 years ago. I've yet to be interviewed. Only to find out a few days ago that they were in fact aware of me, and they even questioned the family if they knew me or not. But yet they've never interviewed me, because for them to allow me to go on record would implicate the very people they're protecting behind a badge. This is the blue wall of corrupt silence. I'm not going to stop. Somebody knows something. Somebody knows something. And we're not going to stop till we get answers. And for those that do have answers, they're in a place of power, and that you do know something that's critical. You can report this anonymous if you don't want to put your career on the line, by being a true patriot, by being a true American. We have a process. It's called due process. We have a vigilante program that's widespread and it's deep, and it includes everything from churches to fraternal organizations, law enforcement, you name it. It has gone absolutely awry. And they cannot and will not continue to be able to contain the crimes against humanity, the heinous crimes that these people have perpetrated. And they've dismissed it. Accidental. He was on dope. The guy driving the 3D pine straw truck jumped from his death from a bridge. And streaming that live, Union County. There's other people that are missing that have no family. They hadn't even been reported missing. But friends know this individual, and she's just another number. That bell has not been rung. That bell has not been rung. In the foreground, as I'm doing this, of course I'm getting a parade of the Tupelo police. I wouldn't expect anything less. I wouldn't expect anything less. They absolutely will do everything they can to stop this message. It's possible that Jessica Stacks is no longer in North Mississippi. It's possible she's still alive. That being said, for those that are in these hotbeds, areas of human trafficking in South Florida, moreover Key West, in Southern California, Arizona, Texas, I encourage you to share this story. I encourage you to go to the Justice for Jessica page on Facebook. There you can get pictures and so forth, and do your part by exposing this crime. There's been a crime. We don't know exactly what the crime is at this point, but according to Kathy's story and according to Jimmy Edwards, foul play is not suspected. Foul play is not suspected. Folks, that don't make no sense. Makes no sense. They find her clothes, her boots, or they've been cut off of her, they say, and all this. And they found footprints on the bank, but they weren't boot footprints. They weren't barefoot footprints. They were footprints from a tennis shoe, not her footprints. I don't think she was ever at that particular place. I think that was a diversion, and the sheriff knows it. We want to know what really happened. We want the real story. And I think it's high time somebody start talking. Follow me on YouTube, United States Anti-Gang Stalking, Facebook, United States Anti-Gang Stalking, Quora, US Anti-Gang Stalking. Until next time, God bless.